Great. Well, look, again, thank you very much indeed, Green Team. Let's take your seats again, and we'll have a final close off.
Thank you very much.
I just want to congratulate both teams. I mean, on really, truly excellent presentations. Well done. And that goes for every aspect of the presentations, both how you presented yourselves and your avatars, the content, the level of detail, which I think is very impressive, and the confidence with which you delivered the presentations, which is also a really important aspect of delivering a presentation. One very small point that I would mention, and you might be able to pick up on this in your final blog post, is to reference your sources. I don't think any of you put a slide up which had a reference to your sources, so it's important to do that. I see Mook has made a comment. She said there are also studies beginning to look at the sense of presence of virtual worlds, which alleviates fatigue versus the Zoom fatigue that comes from the lack of a sense of presence. And I can certainly understand that. The difficulty with the video, whether it's Zoom or Microsoft Teams or whatever you're using, the difficulty with that kind of engagement is that because the video is real, you're trying to put yourself into a real situation, and you're working really hard to read visual images and visual context and so on. Whereas in a virtual world like this, you're much more immersed in the environment itself. And so the engagement is much more natural and therefore kind of less exhausting on the brain. So that's interesting research, Mook. And I think as a headset virtual environments become a lot more sophisticated and easier to access, we might find that being brought to the next level. Yes, site. Go ahead, please.
I was surprised, I think, by how natural it felt for each team to be called up. They walk up, they share, and I just felt like I was here in a classroom with students sharing and presenting, and not like when I've seen some things in Zoom where you're just peeking in people's windows and thinking about, oh, are they in their kitchen or is that, you're not, I let go of that and just felt like I was in a classroom. The subject matter caught my interest, and I mentioned in chat, it's almost frightening thinking about how we're moving in the wrong direction with all this overpackaging and all these trucks. And I was just thinking about all that while they were talking, and about, we all have been aware of wanting to help our climate and go green and all of this, and the pandemic has forced us to go backwards. And so I was going to put in this question. I wondered if there's a way to share these presentations with the companies. And I thought, what would, surely Amazon knows they're going in the wrong direction, but I didn't know if, as students, if there's even a way to share that with those companies.
Same as Val's. I was very impressed. They did a lot of good research. It is important to look beyond the obvious, and they tried to do that. And I think that's very valuable.
Thanks, Sidearm, for that. It's very interesting. And I have to say thank you to Val, Gentle and Mook for coming along this evening. We really do appreciate it. It's great to have some external and objective critique. And it's always interesting to have some people outside of our normal group to come along. It puts another edge on things, it's great. So that's kind of it. I can't believe another semester has finished. It has certainly moved faster than I had expected it to. I want to thank the class, students in particular, for your excellent attendance. I mentioned last week that This is the first time in the history of the module that every single individual turned up for every single class. I know there were one or two where people had difficulty coming, but you let me know in advance, so that counts as attendance. And that makes it a much richer experience, I think. As always, I want to thank our guest speakers. Gentle and Val and Mook hosted us for some very interesting sessions. And I know those have stuck in your memory. They certainly made an impact. A particular thanks to Sidearm, who has coordinated a lot of that activity this semester. Normally Sight will come along and give a talk as well, but he put all his efforts into coordination and finding interesting people for us to meet with. And I want to thank you for that, Sight. So that's it. Can I just remind you guys to make your final post to your blog as soon as you can and get it out of the way. Just wrap up the project, talk a little bit about how the